March is Nutrition Month. Leah Mete is a registered dietitian with Zehrs Markets. Leah, we're looking today specifically at nutrition for women. What is important for women to think about when it comes to planning meals?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I definitely have kind of a few concrete tips that women can be thinking about, not only with meals, but also with snacking. So, tip number one, I would definitely say start to think about your blood sugar a little bit more with your nutrition and kind of how to balance your blood sugar when you're eating. So, when you eat carbohydrate containing foods, so things like fruits, grains, anything with sugar in them, they will actually increase your blood sugar. So we're actually looking to balance our blood sugar a little bit better and keep it more steady. And the reason that we would do that is to do things like keeping our energy levels stable, decreasing cravings. It can also help with things like hot flashes and ovulation. So you want to think about pairing those carbohydrates with fats and proteins to help that blood sugar stay stable. So for example, maybe you like to have an apple as a snack. Well, maybe rather than just having the carbohydrate apple, you should have an apple with a piece of cheese, or you should have a piece of toast with some peanut butter on it. So that's definitely something that women can think about when they're planning. The other thing I would start to tell women to think a little bit more about, eat more omega-3 containing foods. So the healthy fats in omega-3s are actually beneficial for our hormones because hormones are actually made out of fat. So we can support our hormones by including more omega-3s into our diet. So if you're kind of thinking, where do I start with that? Definitely fatty fish is a great place to start. And if you're not really a salmon lover or a trout lover, you can also turn to canned fish. So canned salmon is a great option. Even sardines are a really good option. Any kind of nut or seed or avocado, all of those things would be very high in healthy fat. So those would be some good options. Definitely too, I would think even beyond nutrition and think some lifestyle as well. So one of the things that I would tell women they need to start prioritizing is their sleep. So we need to think about ways to decrease inflammation, not only in our diet but also in our lifestyle. And getting good quality sleep is a really important component of that because your body actually produces melatonin while you're sleeping, which can help reduce inflammation. So start to go to sleep at the same time every night. Maybe burn some energy after dinner, go for a walk to help you go to sleep a little bit more. And then you also might want to consider including a little bit more magnesium into your diet. So pumpkin seeds is a really great way to do that because magnesium has been shown to help with sleep a little bit too. So I guess that is a little bit of a bonus nutrition tip as well.
Are supplements useful, or are they actually something that maybe waste people's money?
Good question. Definitely from a dietitian perspective, I would say food first is kind of always where I'm coming from. But that being said, I do think there is an important place for supplements in a lot of people's diet, specifically in women throughout the life cycle as their needs start to change. So I would say with supplements, the important thing, like you were kind of saying to avoid, don't go out and buy whatever. I would definitely link up with somebody who knows a little bit more about supplements. So working with a dietitian is a great way to do that. And if people out there are looking for some more information on supplements, they can definitely go on bookadietitian.ca and book a consultation with somebody like me. And we can talk a little bit more specifically about their needs and how supplements might tie into that.
One of the issues that women face is hormonal changes, especially as they age, and that causes some issues with their eating habits and their snacking habits.
For sure. Yeah, I would definitely agree with that. But I think the big thing that I want to send the message out there to women as well is that when it comes to dieting and diets, usually if things seem like they're too good to be true, they typically are. So I definitely wouldn't recommend going on elimination diets or following those fads too closely. I know the nutrition space can be very complicated for women and just the general public, but going back to some of those basics, like following Canada's food guide, focusing on more whole foods, trying to find ways in your diet to get a little bit more fruits and vegetables, that's a really good place to start. And then if you are looking to get more specific, that's definitely where a dietitian comes in. And definitely booking a consult with one of us would be a great way to find out where those tweaks would happen to make you feel your best all the time.
You would warn, I would guess, I'm just thinking that you would warn people to stay away from the fad diets, the keto diets, and all of those kinds of things?
I absolutely would. And really, the reason for that is because, first of all, fad diets are designed to work, but they are not designed to be sustainable. So people really need to start thinking about the longevity of their health and what they can keep up for the long term. And something that is very restrictive, which is kind of the hallmark of any diet, it is impossible for people to follow it very closely for a long period of time. And then the other risk that people run, particularly women, when it comes to following these fad diets, is now we need to start thinking about nutrition deficiencies, because a lot of these diets are not adequate because they are restrictive. And then women might even be missing out on some nutrients that are really important for things like their period health, supporting their bones as they age, ovulation, fertility, those kinds of things. So steer clear, be cautious, but dietitians also can help you kind of figure out where your healthy looks like too.
I have to ask you this question before I let you go. A couple of months ago, some controversy when the government of Canada released some new guidelines when it comes to alcohol intake. Now, I know some women that liked the old recommendations because they could drink a glass or two of wine each and every day. And now they're saying only 2 glasses a week. What is your recommendation when it comes to alcohol?
That is also a really good question. I like how you're bringing up kind of what's out in the media right now. So I think with alcohol, really at the end of the day, we know it is not considered a health food, right? And I think when I'm thinking about this in particular to women, the big thing that I see with too much alcohol intake is actually increased hot flashes, especially for our women who are in the aging population or are kind of approaching that perimenopause stage. So do I necessarily follow 100% the recommendation? I think sometimes that's difficult for a lot of people to do. So rather than following what that recommendation is, we need to look at ways to reduce it and moderate it in a way that makes sense for the specific person, right? So if somebody is having 2 glasses of alcohol a day, maybe it's more realistic to tell them 1 glass a day to start, and then we can kind of cut back on it from there. But that being said, too, again, very individual recommendations. And the best way to find what your recommendation is definitely going on bookadietitian.ca and booking a 15-minute consultation with one of our dietitians to talk about it.
Leah, we would love to have you back on The Source again. This was very informative. Thank you for joining us today, and we will be in touch.